Welcome, everybody, to the Healing Place podcast. I am your host, Teri Wellbrock, and so happy to have with me today Dr. Mary Sanders, and she is medical intuitive and Doctor of Chiropractic. I love on her website when I was stalking all her stuff and looking things over, empowering spiritual women with the tools of energy medicine to align with their true self. And I just love that. That's so cool. So welcome, Dr. Mary.
Oh, thank you so much, Terry. It's sincerely my honor to be here and sharing space with all of you today.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I know we had talked just a second ago before I hit the record button, that one of the things that we could possibly talk about was the chakra system and its connection to the endocrine glands and the central nervous system. And I'm so curious about that. So can we start there and give us
We
some guidance on that?
Absolutely, we can start there. It's my favorite thing to talk about, and I could go on all day about this. So let's get started because there's a lot of information to cover, right?
Awesome.
So, for the listeners, for the benefits of the listeners, let's define what a chakra is first, and then we'll define what the endocrine system, what its responsibility is within the human body. And then we can kind of talk about, lean into what that looks like as far as the central nervous system as well. So this is the way I like to describe chakras. Now, chakras are not new. They are not anything new agey or, kind of hip and fad. They have been around for thousands of years, coming from the branch of the Vedic sciences. So in Hinduism and in yoga practices, the asana portion of the practice is designed specifically to open up the energy centers that are located within the physical body. And for today's conversation, just to keep it simple, I'm going to be referring to the 7 major chakras as they relate to the physical body. Listeners, hear me say there are so many there are so many chakra systems that I would be here for a week describing and talking about all of them. But today, just the lower 7 energy centers. Now, to clarify, when it comes to the energy center, chakra means wheel. So it's a vortex of energy. It has a spin, it has a speed, it has an electromagnetic charge. And when we look at the chakra system, there are 3 primary functions. Number one is to receive the information from the environment. Okay. The environment for practical purposes can be people, places, and things that you choose to surround yourself with. So energy comes off of these people, places, and things from the environment and moves through your biofield, which is an electromagnetic current that runs around your physical body and enters into the chakra system. So that's step number one. It receives energy or information from the environment. The second step, or the second function of the chakra, is that it assimilates information. So I mentioned earlier that you're imagining that the energy center is a vortex or a wheel, and so it moves, it has a frequency. So as you're receiving this information, your energy centers are assimilating it. So they're trying to figure out, do I want this energy? Is it foreign to me? Does it feel good to me? Does it not feel good to me? Do I want to reject it? And then last but not least, you have the power to express your life force energy back out into the environment. And so that's the third function of the energetic chakra system. Number one, receive. Number two, assimilate. Number three, express. And that happens so fast. And it's not something that you're conscious of. It's something that is, let's say, autonomic, like your heartbeat or your breathing or your circulatory system. It just happens. Okay. So the chakra system is so intricately connected into the endocrine glands. Now, what do the endocrine glands do? They regulate all of your hormones. Now, most of us listening know about our reproductive hormones. And we also have tons of other hormones, like sleep hormones or hormones that help you digest or hormones. There are so many hormones within the system, and they are all generated and produced by the endocrine system. Okay. So we have 7 major chakras, and they have a corresponding endocrine system. So what I would like to, Teri, if you're open to it, that's one way or another, it's fine. But I thought I would talk about the location, the overarching theme, and the associated endocrine gland for each of the 7 major chakras. How does that sound?
That sounds great because, like I said, we have not really gone down the endocrine path yet on the show. So I
Okay.
love it.
All right. So the first energy center is located deep within the pelvis, deep within the pelvic bowl. So we're talking about the area above the pubic symphysis where your pelvic bowl comes together and below your belly button. And this energy center, the primary themes are safety, security, and trust. The associated endocrine gland is going to be the adrenal system. Now, listeners, many of you know that your adrenal glands are like kidney-sized glands that sit on top of your kidneys. And your adrenals are responsible for adrenaline, epinephrine, norepinephrine, cortisol, DHEA. And many of us are familiar with those hormones because they govern our ability to get up and go. So our adrenals were originally designed to come into production when we are in a fight or flight mode. And in today's society, unfortunately, many of us are wired to be running from that saber-toothed tiger at all times. And
Mhm.
so we expect and demand too much out of our adrenal system. Therefore, the first energy center can be depleted, or I most often see it depleted along with the depletion of the adrenal system. But very rarely do I find that it's in an excess or a dominant disposition. So that's the theme around the first energy center. And if you go a little bit higher, Teri, just underneath the belly button, you'll find the second energy center. And this energy center has to do with your deepest creativity, your deepest desires, your ability to create things in this world. Obviously, if you're a mother, you create beautiful children. That comes from the space of the second energy center. The endocrine gland, logically, that's associated with this energy center is the ovaries for women and the testes for men. And so that means our hormones, our reproductive hormones, are associated with this energy center. Okay. Pretty simple. I mean, the human body, the way that it's designed, Teri, kudos to the engineer, right? Because it's a beautiful, beautiful organism that never ceases to amaze me. When I think that I understand the human body, something new comes about, right? So if we keep in succession, if you go above the belly button, just underneath your ribs, you have the third energy center, which is all about autonomy, individuation, and control. And that governs over the pancreas. And so the pancreas, as you know, is responsible for the production of insulin. So you're looking to regulate the blood sugar levels. Okay? The fourth energy center, known as the heart center, the heart chakra, is located just in the middle of the sternum, the breastbone. And you can imagine, if you're thinking, okay, I know what the heart does. The heart's all about love. Yes, and it is about compassion. So oftentimes we can be more compassionate to the grocery store clerk versus compassionate for self. So we need to keep that into consideration, self-compassion, self-love, as well as love and compassion for others. The endocrine gland associated with the heart center is a sleepy little thymus, a thymus gland. And the thymus gland is super active for immune purposes for a young person. So anybody who's just been born up to about 18 years of age. And it's still, you don't get it taken out. It doesn't like die. It doesn't slither, it doesn't deteriorate. It's still there when we're adults, but it's underproductive, but it's still associated with the heart chakra. Now, for the women who are listening to this beautiful podcast, many of you will resonate with the next thing that I'm about ready to talk about, and that's the fifth energy center located in the throat. And this energy is all about authentic expression, right? Showing up in the world when you're deeply connected into your creative center and just showing up in your essence and speaking your truth. That's the energy behind the fifth chakra. The endocrine gland is, guess what, ladies? It's your thyroid. Okay. So many of us have a hypo or an underactive thyroid, and that shows up within the throat chakra. Okay. The sixth energy center, located just behind the forehead, behind the frontal lobe, the prefrontal cortex, is going to be where you receive clear seeing, your clairvoyant. So you know how it is. You see the truth and it just resonates with you. It's like, oh yeah, that's the truth. And you see it. And so that's the center of clairvoyance. The endocrine gland associated is the pineal gland. And what makes it so cool is that the pineal, for those of you that are not familiar with the pineal, I think it's my favorite of all the endocrine glands. It is, yeah. Like a mother, like a good mother, I shouldn't be prejudiced and have one favorite gland, but I love the pineal, and I love the pineal because it's about the size of your pinky fingernail. And it looks like a pine cone. So if you think about the pine cone, you think about how it has so much surface area in that small little cone. And the pineal gland is responsible for your sleep hormones, your melatonin. Also responsible for your feel-good hormones, your serotonin. And so it regulates light and dark, that how your body will shut down and hormones will change when when the sun sets, and then hormones change when the sun rises. And the thing that I like about the pineal is that it is the first endocrine gland, literally like located in the center of the head, around the area of the thalamus, or of the hypothalamus, I should say, and it is governing over levels of consciousness. So that's what makes the pineal so fascinating to me. And then you have the seventh energy center, which is located on the top of your head, the crown of your head. And this one connects you into all that's much greater than you and outside of you, that omnipresent presence, of the direct knowing. And that information gets received into the top of the head and stimulates the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is like the mother of all endocrine systems. And so it governs over the cycles of these hormones within your entire body. Okay. So that's a lot to digest. Do you have any questions before I move on, Teri?
No, I'm enthralled, and just you see me sitting here shaking my
Yeah,
head.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so listeners, when we receive, I'm going to walk through the cycle of like how this looks. So I'm going to pick, for practical purposes, the first energy center. And so let's say that we're perceiving a non-safe environment. Okay, all of us have, unfortunately, small t traumas, big T traumas in our history. And so that environment, person, place, or thing, penetrated through our biofield, which is like this current that's designed to protect and to shield us. It made its way through, entered into the first energy center. Now, remember, this wheel or this vortex of energy is spinning rather slowly because it's located deep within the pelvis, and it's the lowest of all the frequencies of the seven energy centers I just mentioned. It's also the closest to the Earth's frequency. Obviously, it's just a short trip from your bum, thighs, knees, ankles, and feet, and you're touching the earth, right? So it's a slow energy center. And so we perceive a threatening environment. The energy comes into the space of the first chakra. The energy we receive it, and then we start to assimilate it. Now, if it is a true life-threatening situation, you're going to receive it, and neurologically, it gets picked up and pulled into the adrenal system. And the adrenal system does whatever hormones it wants to produce. The hormones get produced, they get picked up by the blood system through the circulatory system. They travel up to the brain. The brain says, okay, let me create new neural pathways, or let me create new neuropeptides. Let me create, like, how am I going to respond? What's happening chemically within the brain? How do I need to respond physically? How do I need to respond emotionally? And then there's going to be a surge of information that travels down from the body, or from the brain to the body via the spine, down through the central nervous system. The central nervous system then will trigger and neurologically fire whatever response is called for. Now, that's fascinating, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely fascinating. Now, again, and that's just the first energy center, and I'm using a threatening environment because many of us can relate to it. Okay. Now, if we run that pathway enough, right? Let's say we perceive there's always something threatening in our environment, and we constantly are running this loop, then we become addicted to the hormonal secretion of that pattern. And then for those of us that have dealt with addictions, we know what that's like. You get that emotional chemical addiction that surges through your blood system, and it reintegrates, it re-solidifies that neurological pattern that you know is right because you've been running this pattern based upon your condition or your environment for years. It's hard to change.
Yeah.
And that's when energy medicine comes in as a modality to help change, alter, heal the electromagnetic current that runs within us and surrounds us.
Yeah. And so you do brain plasticity, is that part of it? Like you doing some rewiring and creating those new pathways?
Well, first and foremost, we all have to agree that it's possible,
Yeah.
right? And it
Yeah.
is. Science has shown us that our brain is plastic. Thank goodness for that. Okay. So with healing and shifting the electromagnetic current, we can train the brain to lean away from its conditioned response and create a new neuronal pathway. So
Yeah.
you can break that cycle. And I'm not saying all of this is like easy, snap of the fingers. It can be that easy. However, most people are so attached to their patterns that it takes a while, time and repetition for those new neuronal pathways to be established.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm living proof of it. I had severe panic attacks for 25 years, until I stepped onto the healing path in 2013 and did EMDR therapy. And part of what we did outside of when I wasn't in doing the therapy was brain plasticity and doing that rewiring work. Bridges terrified me. And so it kind of incorporated a little bit of somatic work as well. But I remember the first time, like I continued to do the work, do the work, do the work. And I was driving and I was doing something and I was daydreaming and I was thinking about whatever it was I was going to do. And I looked in my rearview mirror and I said, oh my gosh, I just drove over that bridge and I didn't even realize it. Like I used to have that anticipatory anxiety, but I had done the work and I got over the bridge without even thinking about it. None of that happened. And so I said, oh my gosh, I rewired it.
That's a fabulous, fabulous story and a beautiful example as to how that can happen.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Thank you. Yes. So now people me, who lived in a constant state of hyperarousal for decades, right? From childhood when the traumas were going on, but then continued to live in that constant state of hyperarousal. Um, is the like I think of my adrenals. I'm sure they're drained, like they're probably little raisins, right? Like is that fixable? Is it something that we can repair and help our, or is it like permanent damage?
Yeah, okay, that's a great question. I'm going to answer it as honestly as I possibly can. If you have a shriveled up raisin for an adrenal gland, then chances are that that might be something that is a condition that leans more towards permanency. Okay. Now, I also had a constant state of hyperarousal being a self-employed businesswoman for 23 years, now going on 30 some odd years. But to make a long story short, what happens physiologically to these tiny little kidney bean shaped adrenals, the first thing they do when you're under the excessive production, they get bigger, they fluff up. They fluff up. And then when they're done fluffing up and they've exhausted themselves, then they shrivel down. Okay. Now, with that, you can do some adrenal kind of bovine substances that have been extracted from a cow or a pig, or you're manufacturing these chemicals. And when you take those chemicals in the form of a nutraceutical, there's what we call a competitive inhibition that occurs. Your body says, this little adrenal gland is so similar to me. I mean, it has all the likes and qualities of my own adrenal system, but there's something that's foreign about it. And because there's something that's foreign about it, it fluffs up, it forces your adrenals to start producing again. So you can use bovine substances short term to bring your adrenal systems back up. And then there's also, like, for both of us, we talked about having autoimmune disorders. We can work with the methylation utilizing B vitamins and getting the body's genetic expression to turn off some expressions. And so that's possible with the methylation process and also your detoxification pathways. So that can also help with your adrenal systems. And I just got off on a way heady topic
That's
because
right. I asked.
you asked me, and so I had to give the answer.
Yeah, no, I asked. I love it. Thank you. But yes, that's amazing. And I've heard that before about the methylation process. Yeah, for sure. And oxidative stress, that's another thing that's come across my radar as well, and how important that is to rein in. So, yeah.
Yeah. And if you think about it, when you're talking about oxidative stress, we're talking about like free radicals. And when we do grounding practices and connect with when we meet and greet the frequency of the earth, that is an ionic exchange. And so that's very, very healing. And that's just something that, accessible to all of us, and there's no charge to it. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I've talked about that on the show. Like, I'm such a tree lover. I mean, I live on beautiful Hilton Head Island, and I am constantly, I've named some of my trees in my yard. I go out, I put my hand on them, I do some earthing in bare feet in the grass, and I find it incredibly healing. Yes.
And it's when we're coming out. I live in Boulder, Colorado, so it's springtime in the Rockies. Today it's 70, tomorrow it'll be 30. And so what happens this time of the year, I can literally, when I'm outside, I can hear like my skin and all my organs like soaking up this earth energy that I've been lacking through the winter season. It just like sucks it up to the best of its ability.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. I love it. So let me check on our time. Goodness, we're at 5:30 already. So, well, I mean, obviously I could sit and learn from you for, I don't know, weeks on end, but I want to give you an opportunity to maybe touch upon anything that you wanted to talk about and we didn't have a chance to yet.
You hit my main point, and that's the energetic system, the importance of energy medicine, and connecting with the body. So those are my three big ones.
Awesome. Awesome. So now do you work with people do you have courses? Do you work with people one-on-one? And can people work with you outside of Colorado?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, 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 and then yes.
Okay.
So as a medical intuitive, I still have a brick and mortar practice. I have a small little boutique space here where I have hands-on patients, about 12 hours out of the week. And then the rest of my time, I do remote energetic healing. And so energy is not bound by time nor space. So it allows me to create an entrainment field in which two particles, two beautiful spirits can harmonize, and so that we can have a reading and a healing. And that's how I do my work. And so my skill set leans more into clairsentience, in which my body physically feels what's going on with other people. And so I use that as a vehicle to explain to people, how they can help facilitate healing for themselves. So, Terry, I just want to guide people to my website, because it's a breathing organism. It has all my offerings on it. So if you're looking for, my latest podcast on energy medicine, or when I'm launching my next energetic toolbox, my courses, or if you're looking for one-on-one healing or somatic group healing, all of that is found on my website. So it changes with all the programs coming in and out of circulation. So that's where I would send people. If you're curious, definitely take advantage of the discovery call on there, because it allows you to connect one-on-one to say, yeah, I resonate with her, or no, I don't resonate with her. So that's important when it comes to healing. I don't care who your practitioner is.
Yeah, wonderful. And I was when I was on your website, I saw you had a download for meditation. And so I just signed up. You'll see my name because and I got the email right before we signed on together. So
Oh, well, good. I'm excited. I love those three meditations. They're designed for grounding and coming back into present time consciousness, and then detached alignment, which allows you to bring your energy back to self. So I'm in the process of adding sound frequency into those meditations. So there'll be an upgrade coming here very shortly. The name of my website is www.drmarysanders.com. So doctor like drmarysanders.com.
awesome. All right. Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for educating us, me, and being here and the work you do and shining your light into the world. Really appreciate it.
You are so very welcome. And I must say back at you.
Oh, thank you
For
so
for
much.
as many things as you are active and involved in, it's just inspiring. So keep up the great work and keep on being you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. You made my heart smile. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining us today on the Healing Place podcast. And remember, until next time, be gentle with yourself. Thanks. Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. Teri Wellbrock here. Just wanted to thank you again for being a part of this healing space and my hashtag Hope for Healing journey. Thank you for sharing, liking, inviting others to join, listening in. You've really helped this show blossom. It has now been downloaded in 136 countries and is in the top 2% globally out of 3.2 million shows, which is just amazing. And it's all because of you and your tuning in and inviting others and sharing and liking and loving. And your reviews on Apple really help too. My goal is to hit 100 5-star reviews by the end of the year. And I am closing in on that. So if you are listening in on Apple or Apple Podcasts, please go and rate the show and leave a review if you absolutely love it. And I would be most appreciative. Also, if you would like to receive my monthly Hope for Healing newsletter, please be sure to go to teriwellbrock.com. It's TERI, just one R, WELLBROCK.com. And I have a gift to send you for signing up for that monthly Hope for Healing newsletter. Plus, there are many other resources listed on that page, including a resource library. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.